challenge.
And I remember thinking, you're like 10, you do not have a pimple on the inside of your nose, but that was a really kick-ass routine, and it was pretty flawless.
Ooh, you wanna say
Dan
hi,
saw her
Alaina?
and like immediately knew she'd be a star.
Over the 90s, Dan's star is rising at Nickelodeon, but what takes him to the next level is when he discovers Amanda Bynes. And he recognizes her talent and he wants her on All That immediately.
Hi everyone, it's me, Amanda.
Amanda was absolutely natural. Her timing was impeccable, very physical.
Then when a bully picked on me at school, I discovered that music could be used as self-defense.
Oh, well, how?
We had to go to school on set.
How many hours did I go to school? How many hours? 3? Okay.
I want to talk to the teacher.
Okay.
And so there would be times where Amanda would just be missing. And a lot of times we would just hear that she would be with Dan, pitching ideas and writing. We seen them grow closer to each other on set.
How was Leon falling into play in this thing?
Leon is the man. See what we're doing here.
The law was that a parent or guardian had to be with us at all times.
Parents on All That, I would say they tried to stay out the way.
You guys ready for it?
With us all being
You got a lot of
novices,
hair.
with some of us, this was our first
Honey
job.
boo-boo.
It was just in our best interest to kind of
Honey
go with
boo-boo.
the flow. But
Ponytail? Yes.
Amanda Bynes' parents were very hands-on with her career, specifically her dad.
I think Amanda's dad kind of treated her like a wind-up doll. Like, she had really a lot of pressure and high expectations from him.
The ponytail sticking down. What are you talking
His
about?
presence was always felt. A big part of that was his relationship with Dan Schneider.
No, you're gonna get braids. You have to get your hair
They
braided.
carefully crafted
Not
Amanda's
just doing a
career.
regular ponytail.
It was enviable for a lot of the cast members.
Braided.
When Amanda joined the show,
Sorry to bust your
I
bubble.
less and less and less, and then no time with Dan. So, the new favorite had arrived. I was out. So I felt, now I don't need to do this anymore. I can just go to college. So I did. And then maybe a year later, someone told me, oh, have you seen the Amanda Bynes show? And I was like, what? That makes sense.
Amanda Bynes' physical comedy really shines in that first episode.
Hey, it's Amanda!
And it was her big break, and it was Dan Schneider's big break. And this is actually the first time that Dan Schneider's name is listed as a creator. This gave him a whole new level of control and power, and there would be consequences to that later on.
Hey, look at you. I love your outfit.
Dan Schneider's decision to have Amanda be the star of this show is forward-thinking in a lot of ways. A lot of adult female comedians do not get their own shows without jumping through a million hoops.
There's usually two roles that girls occupy in Hollywood, and one is super innocent, really sweet, like Shirley Temple, cute, young, and then the other side is hypersexualized, built for male consumption. Amanda Bynes was like a new deviation as a young actress in Hollywood.
I hereby sentence you to be chased by an unpredictable man in a gorilla suit.
Really personality driven, really funny.
For Amanda, it's a spotlight on her comedic talent, which is something that is kind of rare to see. Ah, that's good. You would think that for this kind of strong female lead to be celebrated, you would have a lot of women behind the scenes. In reality, female writers on The Amanda Show told us that this experience was really one of the most disturbing in their careers.
Working for Dan was like being in an abusive relationship.
So, Alaina,
I fell off a 68-foot cliff.
It's been
I
enough
broke
for
46
you.
bones. looks like
I was trying to put all
at least
of
after I fell off the cliff, I was in an air-conditioned
rags
hospital with a bed and food.
Why would
I
you
wish
change
I was
that?
done
When
with
When you order from
Barbie's hair.
Domino's, you can get more
them
than just
rags
pizza
was
for
already put in
$6.99.
there a long
You can
time
get
ago.
specialty
Why weren't they
chicken,
already up?
savory pastas, oven-baked Parmesan bread bites, molten lava crunch cakes, and medium two-topping pizzas as well. We didn't stop at pizza, and you don't have to either.
With so many choices on Booking.com, there are so many Tina Feys I could be. So I hired body doubles to help me out.
Splurgy Tina loves a hotel near Rodeo Drive.
You wish it was done Barbie hair. You should be done then. Why you not done yet? What's taking you so long? Yeah, we all know that.
You can book whoever you want to be. That's my line. Booking.com.
We all know you're a little slow.
Introducing Allison's Black Psoriasis. She thinks her flaky gray patches are all people see.
Otezla is the #1 prescribed pill to treat plaque psoriasis. Otezla can help you get clearer skin and reduce itching and flaking with no routine blood test required. Doctors have been prescribing Otezla for nearly a decade. Otezla is also approved to treat psoriatic arthritis. Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Serious allergic reactions can happen. Otezla may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Some people taking Otezla have depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss. Upper respiratory tract infection and headache may occur.
With clear skin, Girls' Day Out is a good day out. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla.
New Kinder Chocolate. Delicious little bars of sweet milk chocolate with a creamy, milky center.
Cute,
Made for being a kid. Like that kid flag.
I was singing that. I was saying that little thing from
This lad's skull.
that is
over
on.
here with the
I said, cheer girls today.
left a humbled man.
So I'm
But he
really
didn't give up.
honest right now.
No. Oh man, that's what I mean.
I think I really want to do cheerleading again. And she wanted to do it, so she can't cheer. So yeah. And I was looking at some cheer teams, right? Oh, there's 5, right?
Guy recruited his pal Mel.
I don't know. That's why I was asking, because they said 5 and up
For women.
for Cap City.
Series premiere, best fight in town.
Cap City was
Cap City cheer. Yeah.
Socks, underwear, and t-shirts are the most requested items in homeless shelters. Bombas was founded to help. So for everyone you buy, we donate one. One purchased, one donated. It's a tangible act of kindness for those who need it most. Distributed by 3,500 giving partners across all 50 states. And with 100 million donations and counting, the impact is real. Visit bombas.com and get 20% off your first order.
And you're going to learn how to cheer and tumble. Don't worry, they'll teach you. You'll start with the basic front roll and back roll, which I'm pretty sure you're completely capable of. So yeah. Alaina, can you do a cartwheel? I'll teach you. You would think she know how to do a cartwheel.
You telling me about it, but you know something. Okay.
Like what you mean?
Tonight.
My best friend from England is coming today.
Okay, I'll be back when I'm done.
Hell no. I'm looking at Snake. Happily Ever After, all new tonight at 8 on TLC.
It's the documentary everyone is talking about. And
I'm getting a headache.
Yes.
Nobody's apologized.
It was a light bulb moment.
Amanda Bynes, what happens when you're a child actor?
Tragedy after tragedy in this business. I had the whole entire industry telling me your dreams are over.
Quiet on Set, Breaking the Silence, an all-new special event tonight at 8 on ID and stream on Max.
Bring me a blender.
At the time, there weren't a lot of positions for women in sketch comedy. It was very hard to navigate when you knew the opportunities for women were fewer. You knew you were going in for the one spot.
This was way back in 1999. There were forums where people would talk about writing, and it was in one of those groups, a television comedy writing group. Dan Schneider was in that group, and he had said that he was working on this new television show for Nickelodeon. So I just took a shot and I asked him if he would read my work. And the story that he told me later was that Dan gave them to his writer's assistant and said, you know, read through these and rate them funniest on top. He was surprised to find that mine was on top, and that's what prompted him to call me. I was actually sitting at my desk at work. One of the producers called me and told me that, you know, congratulations, we're offering you a staff writer position on The Amanda Show. This was like a dream come true.
I had been in LA for 7 years, and so it felt very satisfying that someone was gonna pay me to write comedy. I remember speaking to the line producer, and she said that I was going to have to split a salary with a writer that I did not know.
So they were getting 2 for the price of 1. They were going to hire 2 women and have them share a salary. And I never saw it happen to any of the men.
I was like, well, I'm excited. I get to stop temping.
This was my dream job. I mean, this is what I wanted. This is what I worked so hard for. I'm not about to turn it down. I thought to myself, don't be a complainer, you know, do whatever you have to do to get this job.
I remember the early days being a lot of fun. We were on the Paramount lot, which was very exciting to get to walk around. It felt like, you know, Hollywood.
When I first began the job, I got to meet my writing partner. Christy was very easy to get along with. I mean, I liked her immediately.
She was nice and fun, and those early days were great. They were great. It was early on when we first started that Dan said he didn't think women were funny.
He said women can't write funny. Challenged us to name a funny female writer. And he said this to the writers in the writer's room. And that was my first indication of trouble. That maybe this guy didn't really value women in the writer's room. And later he had said that, hey, do you mind that I refer to you and Christy as the girls? Are the girls in the room? Where are the girls? And we both were like, no. And he said, not good, because I can't stand girls that are uptight about things like that. And when he said that, I knew that next time this guy asked me if I mind something, there's a right and wrong answer. And thank God I answered right.
Dan ran the writer's room. He was there anytime we were doing any work. And he was very playful. And joke around and be
not you singing it like that, though.
That's how it goes. Like you gotta.
So Penelope Taint is a character that Dan created.
My name is Penelope Taint.
He came up with the name Penelope Taint. The taint is the part of the body that's between the penis and the anus. Is that skin there? That's the taint. And Dan had said to us in the writer's room, don't tell what this word really means. He wanted us to keep that a secret.
I remember someone from Nickelodeon sitting with us and saying like, oh, does this mean, you know, this dirty thing? And Dan was like, no. Why would you think that's like tainted, like you've tainted something? And they were like, okay. Man, that is power. That is power. That you can just say you want something, and it's done. That's what I thought.
So it got on the show, and it's one of those things where it's like, ooh, you know,
got
like
that raven face on right now, Alaina.
Young girl.
And bless Amanda, and bless the Amanda Show.
In one scene, you know, she's praying in a twin bed. There's something so slimy about connecting this like sexualized genitalia joke with a little girl who's portraying a little girl too. It was clear
you about
that
to
there
cry
was
on
a
camera?
visibility around these sexualized jokes with children.
Oh.
It was part of the course. Like, strange things amuse Dan, and that was just one of the things he thought was funny.
He liked to play pranks and jokes, which at first seemed fun.
In the beginning, I would see, you know, instant message pop up. Dan would send a message for you to say out loud, scream hammers, and you scream it. And then it would be, you know, more degrading, like scream, I'm an idiot, or slut. And if you didn't, he would send you again, caps, exclamation points. He would scream out,
That's what he
say
said.
it until you did.
Scream.
One time, Dan said, I'll give you $300 to eat 2 pints of ice cream in 30 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, I've got no money. I've got half the salary. I will absolutely eat 2 pints of ice cream in 30 minutes.
Dead.
And I did.
I wouldn't.
And I was throwing up afterwards, but it was fine.
It was fine.
Then the money didn't come, and I knew he must have forgotten about it. So one day, he said, somebody kill that fly for $30. And I go, should I add it to your tab? Dan took me into his office and he said, how dare you accuse me of not making good on my bets? And I'm like, no, I was just kind of kidding around. He had fostered this very casual, fun atmosphere. But I felt that Dan could be very volatile and could turn any moment. I was scared.
Oh, that's Dan.
That's Dan.
And when trucks are what you do,
That's
you do
Dan.
truck life better than anyone else. You do trucks that work harder and play harder. And you do trucks that win by breaking every rule of what a truck should be. So this truck month, what you should do is drive a Ram. Trucks are what we do.
During Ram Truck Month, get new rollback manufacturer's pricing with lower starting MSRPs plus 1,000 bonus cash on 2024 Ram heavy-duty trucks.
Feast your eyes on Marco's Pepperoni Magnifico. Fresh dough made daily, topped with our signature sauce. 3 real cheeses, classic pepperoni, plus crispy cupped Old World pepperoni. Pure pepperoni perfection for just $9.99, but for a limited time only.
The itch and rash of moderate to severe eczema disrupts my skin night and day. Despite treatment, it's still not under control. But now I have Rinvoq. Rinvoq is a once-daily pill that reduces the itch and helps clear the rash of eczema fast. Some Rinvoq patients felt significant itch relief as early as 2 days. Some achieved dramatic skin clearance as early as 2 weeks. And many taking Rinvoq saw clear or almost clear skin.
Rinvoq can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB, serious infections and blood clots, some fatal, cancers, including lymphoma and skin. Heart attack, stroke, and GI tears occurred. People 50 and older with a heart disease risk factor have an increased risk of death. Serious allergic reactions can occur. Tell your doctor if you are or may become pregnant.
Help heal your painful skin. Disrupt the itch and rash of eczema. Talk to your doctor about Rinvoq.
Learn how AbbVie can help you save.
I'm Jimmy Dean, and that sunrise song, I honestly feel that way about Jimmy Dean sausage. Get yourself a large chunk of that good morning feeling.
Yeah, there's a live you need to watch.
Times may change, but some things remain timeless.
Go on our channel and watch the live. It's the second one.
I've been using Dr. Love more than 25 years. After 7 days, I feel like a brand new woman.
I think beauty starts with my skin.
My headphone.
He's here. Anyone want a Coors Light?
Oh shoot, I forgot to play the song.
Thanks, LL Cool J.
I got a guy who can fix this.
That's the thing that I first
You gotta be on YouTube.
essence of who the person is. Families need to know they're not imagining that this person is evaporating before their eyes. Ask to see a neurologist. Ask about FTD.
It's the documentary everyone is talking about, and it isn't over yet.
I
had the whole entire industry telling me your
She was too. She was doing Barbie hair.
Set, Breaking the Silence, an all-new special event tonight at 8 on ID and stream on Max.
I fell off a 68-foot cliff. I broke 46 bones.
It's like the jungle has broken me. At least after I fell off the cliff, I was in an air-conditioned hospital with a bed, food.
Tonight.
My best friend from England is coming today.
He's so gorgeous.
Oh, hell no. I'm looking at Snake.
Happily Ever After, all new, tonight at 8 on TLC.
In a lot of ways, Nickelodeon was creating this culture where it was a mini Hollywood, like a Hollywood for kids, where all these actors are kind of competing for the same roles. They all know each other, and they are in their own little ecosystem.
Yes, I used to be numbers. I'm excited or honored to be nominated. I don't think I'm gonna win, but it's so fun.
Something that epitomizes that really well is the Kids' Choice Awards, which is almost like the kids' version of the Oscars. Amanda Bynes gets the Kids' Choice Awards. She was hugely successful and was becoming one of these massive A-list stars.
Thank you! I'm so excited! Okay, I want to say thank you to Nickelodeon, Brian Robbins, Dan Schneider.
The Amanda Show is on Nickelodeon.
She was giving interviews, she was on talk shows, she was everywhere. Dan Schneider was very responsible for Amanda Bynes' career at that point, and they were very tied to each other, and I think she trusted him.
My name is Raquel Lee Ballou, and I was on the first season of The Amanda Show.
Mrs. Shane!
The Amanda Show was huge. It was huge. We had fans coming and wanting to like see us every episode. As a 12-year-old girl, I was over the moon. I was so excited.
We'd be out and people would say, oh my goodness, you're that girl on the Amanda Show. It was a pretty big show.
There was Amanda, of course, and there was me and Drake. Him and I were so silly on this show.
Yes.
Amanda was the star. So I think we both knew that we weren't the stars of the show very early on.
She's a star, so she gets the extra handy dandy equipment.
On The Amanda Show, Dan is the kingmaker. He is the one who is deciding who gets a spinoff, who gets the most lines. If you are on Dan's bad side, you kind of could kiss your career goodbye.
You wanted Dan to like you, because if he didn't, he was mean to you. It's my 13th birthday. People brought me this big cake, like a massive cake. It was great to be able to share the cake with the whole crew and everyone else. But it was told to me, Dan's really upset. Why'd you get her that cake? Like, that's a big cake. Like, she didn't need that big of a cake. And I was just like, and I felt it.
Of course, as a parent, you want to speak up, but then I just didn't want Raquel to face any backlash for any behaviors that I had done. I remember Raquel saying to me she felt that he may have favored Drake and Amanda more than her.
I remember Dan and Amanda Bynes being very close on the Amanda Show. And I think very few people made Dan laugh, you know, and I think she did. In rehearsal, she would say funny things and do funny things.
Yes, this is your doctor. Yes, doctor.
I definitely saw Amanda being very close physically with Dan. There were many times that I saw Amanda sitting behind him, hugging him, or giving him like a neck massage or whatever. Dan and Amanda had a close relationship, and I didn't think anything different than that. The hot tub scene, though, I thought was always a little odd.
I am the executive producer and I'm the head writer.
Actually, both the words are saying each other right now.
Yes, I am.
When you watch the video, it's Amanda Bynes, clearly very young, wearing a swimsuit in a hot tub, and next to her is Dan Schneider, fully clothed. And he's kind of saying, I created the situation. I am the reason we are in this hot tub. I am pulling the strings.
Now, since you're the executive producer of the show, collaborate.
No. Maybe at the time, people viewed it as comedy, but I think now some people are very uncomfortable with the implication.
For me, looking back at the Amanda show is really a kind of sad and strange experience. Knowing that as years went on, Amanda and Dan's relationship would take a turn for the worse. It is also bittersweet to watch knowing what the women were dealing with behind the scenes. He became a worse and worse person to work for.
Dan called me at home and he asked me if I was conspiring against the company. Because if I find out that you did,
here the whole
you're
time.
never going to work for Nickelodeon again.
I'm done in there, but the toilet's still not flushing right.
Tell Dad.
South Dakota's really growing up. We want to be the go-to designers.
This should be fun.
Oh, that I can do this. Bigger, bolder, and more challenging.
Welcome home.
Down Home Fat. All news Thursday at 9 on HGTV. Wow, I am so good at saving us money on things we need.
You do have a challenge.
I do have the Milo's Rewards credit card, so we get 5% off every day. 5% off. 5% off.
5% off.
5% off. You're not going to believe it. 5% off. And as loyalty members, we also earn points for Milo's money to save on our next project.
Okay.
Ready update?
More likely we can work together.
The Milo's Rewards credit card helps you save 5% every day. Apply today. After Advil.
Let's dive in.
But what about your back?
It's fine.
Before Advil.
Advil Dual Action fights pain two ways. Advil targets pain at the source, acetaminophen blocks pain signals. Advil Dual Action.
We're looking for adults 45 and under to be in our HPV vaccination ad. Sound like you?
Not me. In a relationship.
If you're sexually active and unvaccinated, it could still be you.
I'm too old.
If you're under 45, you're not. For most people, HPV clears on its own, but for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers.
Gardasil 9 is a
Oh,
vaccine
sleepy
given to
much?
adults through age 45 that can help protect against certain HPV-related cervical, vaginal,
Turn the
vulvar,
other
anal,
way.
and certain
You know how
head and
this
neck
goes.
cancers such as throat and back and mouth cancers, and genital warts.
Gardasil 9 doesn't protect everyone and doesn't treat cancer or HPV infection. These diseases may have many causes.
Your doctor may recommend screening for certain HPV-related cancers. Routine cervical cancer screenings are still needed. You shouldn't get Gardasil 9 if you're allergic to the vaccine, its ingredients, or yeast. Tell your doctor if you have a weakened immune system, are pregnant, or plan to be.
The most common side effects include injection site reactions, headache, fever, nausea, dizziness, tiredness, diarrhea, abdominal pain, and sore throat. Fainting can also happen.
Help protect yourself against certain HPV-related cancers. Talk to a doctor or pharmacist today.
Come by. Come by.
You're 2% Irish.
Yeah, I know.
See that spirit? That's all you need.
Sludge, everyone!
Get a load of this glorious morning in nature. Can you feel the energy? The verve, that giddy thrill of waking up and being alive and kicking. Luckily for you humans, Nature's Way put that feeling in a bottle. Multivitamins inspired by nature. Nature's Way.
When you order from Domino's, you can get more than just pizza. You can get specialty chicken, savory pastas, oven-baked Parmesan bread bites, molten lava crunch cakes, and medium two-topping pizzas as
My
well.
bad, you said
You
something?
didn't stop at pizza, and you don't have to either.
At Universal
I'm so focused.
Windows Direct, our designers and engineers have been dedicated to creating the most exclusive window in the industry.
It's me,
So
Janet,
exclusive
right?
that you'll know these aren't just any windows. They're Universal Windows Direct
Everybody act
windows.
like there's no food
For
in
a
this house.
limited time, buy 2 windows, get 2 free. And 60 months interest-free financing. Schedule today. This offer won't last.
Universal Windows Direct.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. favorite guy.
Tonight.
My best friend from England is coming today.
Hello, gorgeous. Oh, hell no. I'm looking at a snake. Happily Ever After, all new, tonight at 8 on TLC.
It's the documentary everyone is talking about, and it isn't over yet.
I had the whole entire industry telling me your dreams are over.
Quiet on Set, Breaking the Silence, an all-new special event tonight at 8 on ID and stream on Max.
Dan, it got worse and worse as the season got on. Because I was a first-time writer, I didn't know what was acceptable and not acceptable. And so Christy and I both did things that were uncomfortable. Dan was showing pornography on his computer screen. It asked me several times to massage him in the writer's room and in the studio. And he would say things sometimes like, can please give me a massage? I'll put one of your sketches in the show. And he would always present it like a joke, you know, and he would be laughing while he said it. But you always felt like disagreeing with Dan or saying, or standing up for yourself could result in you getting fired.
What you did, Mama?
One of the worst was we were in the writer's room and Christy was talking about high school, which is relevant because we're writing for a young girl. And Dan was just said, you know what would be funny? If you leaned over the table and acted like you were being sodomized and told that story about high school. She said no at first, and then he was kind of like, oh, come on, it'd be so funny, just do it, it'd be so funny. And everyone's kind of laughing too, because he's making it like this big joke. She couldn't get out of it, you know, he's big at her. So she just leaned over the table and did what he asked her to do.
Do you remember Dan asking you to act out being sodomized?
I'd rather not. I'd rather not. I don't want to talk about that. I mean, it's not that I'm not proud of it, and I'm also like, ugh. Thinking about it now, yeah, it's like, oh boy, I just think of that poor girl and what she had to, you know, go through. Yeah. And I would not do that today, but I did it then.
It was upsetting to watch because I mean, Christy, at this point, I didn't feel at all comfortable complaining to him about anything that might make him feel like, oh, there's a girl in the room. She's killing the vibe. You don't want to be viewed as the person that can't take a joke. It was probably the wrongest thing I've ever seen happen to a woman in a professional environment ever.
Turn this way. Turn.
And all of a sudden, I had heard about mid-season that having the writers split their salary was against the rules for this show. So I called the Writers Guild to ask them if that was true. Can there be teams on the show? And they said no.
I grabbed the other bag. It was only
Jenny told me this, and I was going like, wow, they were trying to pull a fast one.
Dan called me at home, and he asked me if I was conspiring against the company. He had found out that the guild was now requiring him to pay for our separate salaries, and he wanted to know if I was the one that made that happen. Because if I find out that you did, you're never going to work for Nickelodeon again, or for any Viacom project. I was terrified, because I'd never seen him quite that scary before. And also, you know, angry too, he had gotten caught doing something ethically wrong, and said, if I find out you told on me, I'm going to do something even worse to you. You're not going to work again.
I think things started to change with Dan. You could feel his presence. When he walked on the set,
I was watching
the
other
crew
shit,
could feel it.
and it just popped on.
He wasn't the happy guy making jokes anymore. There was a few times when he came down that he lit everybody up.
Dan yelled a lot. Dan was like a tornado. He'd come in and like, you'd be like, wow, okay, what just happened? Dan showed up.
Let's turn a little bit more, can you? Thank you.
He would leave because, you know, I think everybody was on their toes, scared.
He could literally be nice, and then mean, and then nice, and then mean, like throughout the day. So one minute I'm like, I've got Dan wrong. He's really nice. He's supportive. And then like an hour later, I could be like, this guy's scary as hell.
We were all feeling near the end paranoid, uncomfortable. It was just a bad vibe. We all felt like, the axe could drop at any moment. It was our last week of work for season 1 of The Amanda Show. I had this meeting at my manager's office, and by the time I got in my car to go back to the office, I had been fired.
Dan basically owned all of your time, your weekends, after work, and Christy had done 2 personal things during the season. She had gone to a concert on the weekend, and she had friends over one night, and she basically got fired for that.
It just felt very vindictive that that it was 3 more days of being paid. So I went back to temping, and I had nothing.
I went down to the studio to meet with Dan about season 2. He said, here's the deal. We're bringing you back for season 2, staff writer. We're offering you a 16-week contract.
Thank you.
But you need to work the whole season, which was, I believe, 27 weeks. He was telling me I had to work 11 weeks for free. And I was devastated. I'd proven myself. I'd written well. I'd paid my dues.
11 weeks for free is crazy.
And he said,
I would
this
never.
is all the money that we have. Now, meanwhile, he hired a white male at full salary. No credits, first job. But he's asking me, second season on the same show, and you have to work 11 weeks for free.
And I would have quit. That's crazy. There's no way.
I lasted 4 days in season 2. Dan gave us this assignment, asked all the male writers into his office, and left me out. Then he called me in, and all the men were standing.
What?
And Dan was behind his desk.
There's
and
what?
He said, okay, pitch your idea.
No, that's a glare, baby.
I pitched my idea, and he said, didn't you used to do phone sex?
Whoa.
Just like that, like out of nowhere.
And if
I was like, no, Dan. He was like, didn't you tell us, didn't you say that last season that you used to have a job like that, something like that? No. I was destroyed. I went outside, I was crying, I can't do this. So I went home and I quit. And it was so devastating, it was so hard to let go of that job, but I just couldn't do it anymore. There's no way I was gonna be the only woman in that world with him. No way.
What show did she work on?
The Amanda Show. But that's what he wanted. He wanted every woman out of there.
I was at my temping job. I get a call from Jenny. I'm suing Dan. And I remember thinking, like, it just took me by surprise because we were all afraid. We're all afraid. That's why just me and Jenny are talking to you. Like, people are afraid of him.
The reason I did it was because I didn't want this to be happening to other women in the future.
She said, hey, can you write a letter on my behalf? And I said, of course I will.
And so then I hired a lawyer and started blowing whistles.
Takes one.
So my lawyer filed complaints against the production company for gender discrimination, hostile work environment, harassment. Yeah, and in response, they did an internal investigation. And they settled, but it had a lasting impact on my career. I knew that. I knew that this was the end of my career. So it better be worth it. It better stop.
Turn, girl. Put your legs back up.
It didn't stop.
I need you to turn. Turn.
That it was all for nothing.
You need to get up in here.
The Amanda Show was Dan Schneider's first show, and he had a complaint against him for gender discrimination and creating a toxic workplace on his first big show that he did. So a lot of the seeds of the issues that we see throughout Dan Schneider's empire were there from the beginning.
How safe can any kids be in that environment if that's how the adult women are being treated behind the scenes? And on Dan's shows, there was always this kind of murkiness in what was appropriate and what was inappropriate. but there would be even bigger problems down the line with actual pedophiles on set.
Van Nuys division officers have arrested this suspected child predator charged with kissing and touching a 9-year-old girl, but officers believe there may be more victims.
What happened to your leg, Mommy?
Nothing major. Sitting, you know, dress.
Looking for kids to be in a schoolroom scene. So for her to get booked on a show that she absolutely loved, at only 11 years old, she came out of that just on cloud 9.
Bring out the dancing lobsters!
We as parents were not allowed back on the set. We were greeted by a production assistant, Jason Handy, who guided all the kids to where they needed to be. Jason looked like the all-American boy next door. Very charismatic, very charming. When he wasn't on set with the kids, Jason would come out and talk with all the moms, want to get to know about us, what our families were like. You thought, oh, I could be friends with this person. On the drive home, Brandy was very excited. She said Jason started exchanging numbers with the kids and the parents, and Jason wants to email. She thought, oh, this is somebody else on the set that seemed to be so nice, and she has a friend in the industry.
We
I
almost
thought,
there.
oh, this is going well. I was so happy I was the parent that could give my child what she wanted in life.
Until
about a week after she was on that episode, there was an email from Jason. She let me read it, and it was a very innocent email. It just talked about the shows that he had been working on. After that, they were emailing more. She would tell me, oh, I got an email from Jason. He's doing this, he's doing that. I didn't see any harm in it. A couple months later, she was sitting at the computer, and all of a sudden I noticed she had suddenly shut down the computer completely and got up and ran into her bedroom and slammed the bedroom door shut. And I said, Brandy, what is wrong? She started to cry, and she said, I got an email from Jason. It was a picture of him naked,
okay,
masturbating.
Oh, wow. With that
And he
being
said
said,
he had sent it to her because he wanted her to see that he was thinking of her.
nuh-uh. No. No, thank you, sir. I don't want you to think about me like that.
I went back and forth with, should I call the police? They're gonna think I'm a bad parent because I allowed her to talk to this person. I struggled with this, and I finally told myself, I can't call the police. All I can do is make sure I keep her far away from him.
Whoa. That's the craziest thing I've
She
ever heard.
left the business and never returned. The
And that's
public
okay?
still has this image of Hollywood of
Just because she left,
this
never
glitz and glam and the limelight, and oh, you have
Hey, turn around the other way, the same way.
career, and it's all fine and great. They don't know what these kids went through.
Oh my God. Put your head down, buddy.
Amanda, I sure hope you like my app.
What is your
Hi, my name's Amanda Bynes, I'm 9 years old.
How old are you,
Oh,
by the way?
oh.
I'm 10.
You're 10 years old.
I'm 12, turning 13 April 3rd. Yeah! Teenager! And I'm 14 years old. And I'm 16.
Amanda Bynes was very, very famous by the time she was like 16.
But if you
And at
don't
the
breathe,
time, she
your
talked about
chin
wanting
is on
to
my
do
leg, so you
more
should be able to
adult
breathe.
roles.
On Nickelodeon, I had to do a lot of like slapstick.
You're like, what if I don't breathe, girl?
I got to a point
Like
where
I'm
growing up
smothering
and I
you.
wanted to feel like my age.
Got
and
your
like a
chin
girl.
on, just your chin on my leg, right? Your
She
nose
made
is
a
out,
few
right?
movies, What a Girl
Yeah.
Wants and Big Fat
And you about to put your
Liar.
head up
She's
in like
starting
5
to
seconds.
pivot into this different space.
Take
in
your
her
3 minutes to
career that's
suffocate.
well beyond Nickelodeon and well beyond being a figure of child entertainment. Dan Schneider created a show called What I Like About You on the WB with a 16-year-old Amanda Bynes.
And Dan really wanted to follow Amanda into this mainstream success.
But there's already trouble on set.
Dan had a very specific image of how he wanted What I Like About You to go. But he was constantly fighting with the co-creator of What I Like About You, Will Calhoun from Friends. And there was just this massive amount of tension there where the network didn't really trust Dan.
And they stepped
You got a
in.
viewer,
He got pushed
Alaina.
out from the writer's room.
Marie, somebody's watching us.
But Dan is still able to remain on set with Amanda in his role as producer.
Somebody's watching us.
Amanda's relationship with Dan was very close.
He thought that he should be the one to kind of usher Amanda into adulthood.
It's a very delicate transition to make from child star to adult person, never mind adult actor.
What's the cost of fame in your opinion?
People
Turn around that way,
involved in
Zinky.
your personal life. Oh, and not
Stand
that
by.
of you.
She wanted to be a grown-up. She still lived at home, you know, so there were some rules.
Amanda and her parents were not getting along. Amanda was dating someone.
He was older. You know, you're 16 years old. You think you're an adult. You know everything. But your parents, being good parents, said, yes, can't do that. And I think she didn't like hearing, I can't.
Amanda tries to run away from home, and in this moment, she turns to Dan for help. The details are a little bit murky, but we know from sources that the police were involved. And we also know that Amanda's parents are really, really upset with Dan's actions through this. But around this time, Amanda turns to Dan and other representatives to come up with a plan to get her emancipated and get her a new level of independence. This
Don't try to
plan
turn your
takes
head
her
down,
parents
shorty.
completely by surprise.
They didn't say I do, so what rights do kids have when they want a divorce from their mom and dad?
2 teenage sisters went to court to get a divorce, not from their husbands, but from their parents.
My child wants to be emancipated. What does this mean?
That's a really good question. What your child wants is to be called a legal adult. In order to do that, your child needs to petition the court.
There's a pretty lengthy history of teen stars getting emancipated from their parents.
That's crazy.
It lets them work a little more freely. They don't have to work reduced hours. It would have made everybody a lot more money. They could have worked even harder than they already were.
And she really felt pulled in a couple of different directions. You know, parents, Dan Schneider's the guy responsible for my career. She's a teenager, and that's a lot to put on somebody. Knowing that no matter what decision you make, you're going to hurt someone who means something to you is difficult.
Dan inserting himself into Amanda's life like this is really ethically fraught. I think that there is an argument that can be made that he was trying to help Amanda, but unfortunately for Dan, this goes to court and it entirely fails.
All right. Squeeze the scalp and finish
Because of Dan's involvement in this plan to emancipate Amanda.
Do we have the comments off?
This creates this huge split in between Amanda's parents and Dan Schneider.
I don't think we do.
This is really
they
the
can
end of
comment
Dan's
if
relationship
they want
with
to.
Amanda, but her transition into adulthood in the public eye will be incredibly fraught.
They can comment if they want to. But you do have a viewer. I don't know who's watching, but say hi.
In name only. Dan has basically lost his ticket out of children's programming. It's a huge blow, so now he has to turn his attention back to Nickelodeon.
And Nickelodeon obviously wanted it because here's a guy who's responsible for a couple of really successful shows for them. The dark side of that is that it came at a cost to a lot of people.
It's the documentary everyone is talking about, and it isn't.
Came at a cost.
I had the whole entire industry telling me your
My boy right here is going through
Right
it.
on set, breaking the silence, an all-new special event tonight at 8 on ID and stream on Max.
Choose Advil Liquid
They said his
Gel
interview
for
was the worst.
faster,
stronger and longer
He couldn't
lasting
even
relief than
speak
Tylenol Rapid Release
on
Gel.
the situation.
Because
Like,
Advil
it was
targets
so bad.
pain at the source of
Like, the way he
inflammation.
tried
So
to
for
talk
faster
about it was
pain
just like
relief, Advil, the pain away.
heart-wrenching and gut-wrenching. Which put you down.
With a big story to tell. I take once daily Jardians. At each day start. As time went on, it was easy to see. I'm lowering my A1C.
Jardians works 24/7 in your body to consumption sugar. And for adults with type 2 diabetes and known heart disease, Jardians can lower the risk of cardiovascular death too.
Serious side effects may include ketoacidosis that may be fatal, dehydration that can lead to sudden worsening of kidney function, congenital yeast or urinary tract infections, a rare life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop Jardians and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this infection, ketoacidosis, or an allergic reaction. You may have increased risk for lower limb loss. Call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of infection in your legs or feet. Taking Jardians with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar.
Wasn't really no African American girls or the African American boys.
John's biggest role ever.
Oh my god, he's levitating.
Oh no, it's a book. Need you to step back,
You know?
because I can
So
feel your
think
breath
about
on
that for a second.
Animal Control, this Wednesday on Fox. If you have moderate to severe ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease, put it in check with Rinvoq, a once-daily pill.
When symptoms tried to take control, I got rapid relief and reduced fatigue with Rinvoq. Check.
When flares kept trying to slow me down, I got lasting.
I swear, after I'm done girl head, I'm getting in the
When
chopper.
my doctor saw damage, Rinvoq helped visibly reduce damage of the intestinal lining. Check.
For both UC and Crohn's, rapid symptom relief, lasting steroid-free remission.
And visibly reduced damage. Check, check, and check.
Rinvoq can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB. Serious infections and blood clots, some fatal. Cancers, including lymphoma and skin. Heart attack, stroke, and GI tears occur. People 50 and older with a heart disease risk factor have an increased risk of death.
I'm done.
Serious allergic reactions can occur. Tell your doctor if you are or may become pregnant.
Put UC and Crohn's in check and keep them there with Rinvoq.
Ask your gastroenterologist about Rinvoq and learn how AbbVie can help you save.
Yeah, just with the grease.
Nature gives us what we need to protect ourselves. Like elderberries. Nature's way
With the grease.
combines these
That's it.
vitamins
Put it out.
C, D,
Put
and
it back.
zinc for powerful immune support inspired by nature. Nature's way.
Feast your eyes on Marco's Pepperoni Magnifico.
Yeah,
Fresh
blah,
dough
blah,
made
blah,
daily,
blah,
top of
blah.
our signature sauce. 3 real cheeses,
Scrunchy.
classic pepperoni, plus crispy cups full of pepperoni. Pure pepperoni perfection for just $9.99, but for a limited time only.
Hey, it's Christina Hall. Welcome to my home. In my home, every detail is curated, from the design to the atmosphere, and especially how my linens feel and smell. With Hotel Collection laundry pods,
What?
there's no measuring and no
You just
mess.
pointing.
One pod
Oh,
does
to make
it
your
all. And
ends
the best
curly.
part, they're safe
Still even
and
conditioner.
non-toxic. Infused with fragrances inspired by the world's finest 5-star luxury hotel. Each pod ensures an impeccable clean while protecting your linens. Available now at hotelcollection.com.
Breeze up a little bit more since it ain't tight.
At Quince, we make inexpensive, expensive things. We know it sounds like a paradox, but we just flipped the way luxury is made. Like washable mulberry silk, unbelievably soft leather jackets, fine Mongolian cashmere, all at a fair price. Get free shipping and 365-day returns at quince.com.
Tonight.
My best friend from England is coming today.
You look gorgeous. Oh, hell no. I'm looking at Snake. Happily Ever After, all new, tonight at 8 on TLC.
Over at Nickelodeon, Dan had been growing what would become an empire, reviving all that with a whole new cast.
The all-new cast of all new all that.
All that
That wouldn't
made
last
Dan's
long.
career. He was able to capture this really lively energy where it just looked like everybody was just having a good time.
What makes it really fun for me working with young people is that it's fresh and new to them. This is often their first or second job. Fame is new, the whole process is new, and they're excited to be a part of it.
Dan was the writer and the executive producer on all that, and he was the primary person in charge on set. There is a deference on a television set. It's very hierarchical. Dan is someone who holds economic power and emotional power over these kids. He had so much power, and he threw it around. I grew up watching all that, and I remember the way they talked about Dan.
It's the Dan phone.
There's a very telling scene where Dan calls the cast, and it's like Charlie calling his angels.
Hello, cast. Hi.
He's parodying himself as a big shot producer.
We lost him.
Lost him.
How about a shrimp?
Okay.
He's being hand-fed shrimp tails, and then the kids are literally referring to him as God.
It's not our place to question this.
Yeah, Dan's a god.
Right?
To me, it looks like a moment that really reflects what's happening behind the scenes.
Let's go make Dad proud.
Yeah, a lot of weight.
I was so excited, but I had
They were scared
no
of that big
idea
man.
what kind of wild ride I was getting into.
Hey, you guys know Gail. Hi.
I am Giovanni Samuels. I started on all that for seasons 7 through 9. I understood the magnitude of being the token black girl, but I didn't realize how significant that was until years later.
My name's Kyle Sullivan. I was a guest star on the Amanda Show.
You people ripped us off.
It was apparently funny enough that Dan took a liking to me and was like, ah, wow, okay. I was on all that for 4 years.
My name is Brian Christopher Hearn. I was a cast member on season 7 and 8 of All That. Every time I booked a role, I felt like I was one step closer to getting my family out the hood. And so it was freeing to get the role on All That. But that wasn't the reality.
The set on all that was dysfunctional. You could just kind of get away with more, like going overtime in ways that were sort of pushing the envelope.
They would be like, hey, can you stay an extra however long? I guess, sure. And you kind of look at your mom like, we're ignoring child labor laws again, do you know? All right, let's shoot.
I remember we did this sketch, Sugar and Coffee. It involved me and Lisa running around this set and basically swallow a bunch of sugar and swallow a bunch of coffee. That sketch required a ton of physical work.
Welcome, Mrs. Nutter.
They have you come in dressed as an old lady that gets drowned in the sugar and coffee. I mean, you're pouring pounds and pounds of literal sugar in your mouth, and it's hitting you like sand, and sometimes we would choke.
It was taxing, and frankly, if you look at the sketch, it's gross. It would congeal into this gross, viscous goo. It was weird. The show is full of these uncomfortable sketches. I think that Dan got a kick out of walking a line with
girls in here popping girls.
Generally, I had a good relationship with Dan. Dan was very professional.
They popping though.
Dan had
Look
a
at you,
nicer
pretty
relationship
girl.
with some of the other white kids. I didn't feel close to him at all. My time on Nickelodeon
She be
played a
wanting
big
that
part
high
in
pony.
how I dealt
my
and
baby
still
wanted.
deal with racial
She be wanting that high ponytail.
issues.
We got impressions on what the climate was like immediately. First day filming.
You want to buy some girly cookies?
You said, what? You want to get
girl? They set up the scene like he was selling drugs. And I was like, oh, the black kid gets to be the crack dealer? And then we're at the end of the scene, and there's a man sitting there who was the producer. Behind him was a young lady massaging him.
That was certainly pulled from Dan getting massages on set, which was weird.
Why are we having adult jokes? Are you showing the kids that Hollywood is a casting couch? And oh, Tracy, shh. I was complaining too much. I became the oddball.
As you should.
There was a sketch
There's a black mama
where I played the youngest rapper of all time, Lil Fetus.
Oh!
They were fitting me for the Little Fetus role. And essentially, you're a fetus, so you're naked. But, you know, they have to put a bodysuit on you. And obviously, it has to be skin tone. Someone said the skin tone should be charcoal.
Oh.
I started to get teary-eyed. Whoever was doing my makeup at the time was kind of like, hand on my shoulder, like, it's gonna be okay. Like, don't worry about that, he just said. That was a moment where I felt like, oh, I could go get my mom about this.
For real.
But also, I know my mom, and I know that she would have rose hell.
I saw things differently.
All right, baby girl, you done.
Everybody else.
You look so pretty. What you gonna tell them? Like and subscribe.
She called
No,
me.
you're not gonna tell them?
She's like,
Pinch your butt.
come on.
You're not gonna tell
Do it for
them? Say
Brian.
like and subscribe. Tell the camera.
And I was like, yeah, but things
You're
are
not gonna tell
weird
them that
here.
you don't want them to subscribe?
The person at the top sets the
Even
tone for
Ari
the
offered him
entire
some money.
production.
Bro,
If
he
you
said
run
if you
a
don't
show
subscribe, you're
dealing
not gonna get no
overwhelmingly with children, then you are responsible for
If you
creating
don't
an environment
subscribe,
where those
you're not
kids
gonna get no
feel
candy.
beyond
Oh,
comfortable to tell
you
you that
giving
they're
out
not
candy.
comfortable.
Y'all some
It needs to
hustlers.
be so safe.
All right, y'all, that's the end of my day today. I am done.
To you, the most powerful person there. I don't want to.
I did 3 heads. Got all that grease on my face.
The on-air dares were the fear
You look
factor
cute.
of Nickelodeon.
All you need is a bow now.
2 chambers.
You gonna go get a bow?
It was like this ominous thing that was deciding.
You said it. I'm
what was it gonna be?
Ooh, excuse me, my bad. That was the sexiest thing I've ever did.
All the cast members, and it was stop.
Whatever one you want to put in.
Those were particularly
I'm not wearing it.
perfect, and they were sort of designed to be.
Whatever
The
one you
whole
want to
idea
wear,
was that
you
have
choose.
to do something scary on camera, and
Gotta
they
wash
got
all the
pretty
combs.
scary.
That one? Come
I
on.
did the
Look like
peanut
it's
butter
broke.
one, so I had to be submerged in peanut butter.
Oh.
That was weird. But then the dogs come, I'm laying on the ground, and then the dogs, they gotta lick peanut butter off my body.
Oh, hell.
That sounds like some kind of awkward fantasy from some freaky dude. It was really uncomfortable. I didn't like that.
Can you put your head down so I can put the bow on? Thank you. Come
And when you
closer.
question it, it's like,
Come
but it's
closer.
normal, isn't
Put
it?
your head up.
Right? They begin to teach
Go get another one. That's
parents.
dirty. Look at
This is
that.
normal.
Go get another one.
I didn't need to have dogs lick the peanut butter off. Jack didn't need to be submerged in a pool of worms. I don't think that any of that was necessary.
There was sort of this
3.
weird dynamic with it where they were taking
4.
something that, you know, exists in an
Grease.
adult context.
What is this?
Like Pure
You know I
Factor,
don't use no goddamn Maurice. Where's the black, the blue, the
and,
the
like,
blue magic?
transmogrifying it into kids. When you do that, it's actually
Okay, we'll
like
take that.
an inappropriate thing to do.
There was a scorpion there.
Boo boo be doo.
The thing that was most uncomfortable is having to watch your fellow castmates be
humiliated,
essentially tortured.
There, I put that through the braid.
If there's anything on
So be
set
careful.
that I wish I could have yelled, stop, let's not do this, I'm out.
Show the camera before we log out.
I think that people kind of just look at us and go,
You's a
"That's
bum.
money."
Alright, y'all. I don't know who's watching, but thanks for watching.
We collect our money.
Like, love you too, baby.
Sure,
Like and
everybody.
subscribe. We out of
At what
here.
cost?